Today, our objective is to use a linear equation to solve for the independent and dependent variables. Let's get going. Let's take a word problem. Very simple one. Renting a jet ski costs $25 per hour plus a $15 one-time charge. With that, let's let H represent the hours that we rent the jet ski and C represent the cost. Now, let's write an equation. This equation is going to be C equals 25 times H plus 15. Now, here's some clues, verbal word clues, or I should say cues, to help us decipher the text so we can write this equation. There's a magic word per. Per is going to tell us lots of things. Now, first of all, the first thing it's going to tell us is both variables. In front of the per will be our dependent variable. In this case, it is the cost, which is dollars. The variable after the per will be our independent variable, which is going to be time, which is going to be expressed in hours. Also, the number in front of the per will be our slope. It's our unit rate of change. So we can recall from previous lessons, y equals mx plus b, that m, our slope, is always in front and being multiplied with our independent variable. Now, our one-time fee, plus a $15, is our y-intercept. So that's going to be replacing our b. So we could constantly look for these verbal cues to help us write these equations. So one last time, our cost, which is our dependent variable, is $25 per hour plus 15 bucks. Now, when I say $25 per hour, that's like saying $25 times every hour. Now, here's our equation. Let's say we had a table, and our table had our time and our hours, which is our first column. That's our independent variable. And our second column in our table is our cost, which is our expressed in US dollars. Now, let's say we have a few hours that are given, but we don't have the costs, and there's a few costs, but we don't have the hours. We can use our equation to figure out those unknowns. Now, the first one, 2 hours. How much does it cost if we rent a jet ski for 2 hours? Let's use this equation. Now, look what I do here. I take out that H, and I put the 2 there. So now my equation is the cost is $25 times 2 hours plus an extra 15 bucks. And I go ahead and simplify that, and I get $65. And that's how much it costs for 2 hours. So what would it cost for 5 hours? Using this equation, I could take out the H and put 5. So I just multiply 25 times 5 hours, and I get $125. Plus I add that one-time fee, and I get $140. And that goes right there. Now, let's just jump down to 12 hours, since these are the same types of problems. I'm going to take out the hours and put 12. And simplify this. 25 times 12 is 300. Plus an extra $15 is $315. And that's going to go right there. Now, what happens if we are given the cost? I can still use this equation. But I'm not given the hours, I'm given the cost. So I can remove this C, and in this case put 240 right there. Now, from our earlier lessons, we could solve for H because, look at this is a two-step algebraic equation. I want to get H all by itself on the right side, and what's on the other side is the amount of hours it will take to rent this jet ski for $240. So let's get rid of this unwanted term first, is 15. We're going to subtract 15 from both sides of the equal sign. And I get 225 equals 25 times H. Now, how do I change this coefficient to 1? Well, we learned from earlier lessons that we just divide by the coefficient. And if we divide the right side by 25, we've got to do the same thing to the left. And 225 divided by 25 is 9. So 9 equals h. So that's the amount of hours required when, or that's how many hours it will take to run a jet ski if it costs $240. So we can do the same thing with 390. Look, I can take out the C and put 390, subtract 15 from both sides, divide by 25, and I get 15 hours. And so that goes right there. So if you want to try 515, you could pause the video right now, plug the 515 into your equation right here, and solve. Now that you're back with me, hopefully you subtracted 15 from both sides and got 500 equals 25h. Divide both sides by the coefficient, which is 25, and you get 20. So when you costs $515 for a jet ski, you rented it for 20 hours. And that's how we could use an equation to solve for either the independent variable or the dependent.